All right, welcome to the show. The show is called There's Always a Song, and I'm Brent Buchanan from Pure Country here in Fredericton. And there's always a song on this show. At the end of the show, we're going to hear an original song by my guest. And my guest and I, we date, we don't date. We've dated, we haven't dated. We've known each other for quite a while.
Yes, that is accurate.
Sherri Chenard is in the studio with us today. And no, we haven't dated, have we?
No. Never.
Never. Good to see you. Welcome to the show. There's always a song, and you know songs because you've been in the music biz for a while, a long time. We've known each other for a long time.
Yeah, I mean, we're not best friends.
No.
But there is a history. It's a long history of saying hello.
We've seen each other at the grocery store a number of times. We worked together at one time.
We did, and if I'm honest, we both were at the hockey games at the LBR at the same time when we were in high school. I used to see you at those.
Yes.
So we've been around.
We've been around.
Yeah.
Sherri Chenard, you've been in a number of bands and groups in Fredericton for a while now. But where did this all start? Where did your love of music stem from?
If I'm honest, it's familial. Both of my grandfathers were musicians. Mm-hmm. My mom's dad was a really great fiddle player, and he was in a lot of bands way back in the day. Yeah. And then my dad's dad was more of a crooner.
Oh, really?
So my mom was sort of a Patsy Cline style singer, mm-hmm. and my dad and all of his brothers and one of the sisters, they were all singers, and most of them were performers. So when I was 7, my really gorgeous uncle came to New Brunswick, and everybody wanted to be my friend who was like 16, really? 17, because he was a cutie patootie.
Right.
Skip. And anyway, he sang My Name is Michael at the Orange Hall in Tracy, and he got all of his nieces, me included, to help him sing My Name is Michael.
Really? Mm-hmm. And that's how it all started?
Yeah, I realized that if you sing, people will clap.
and cheer and holler.
Cheer, and they will. I mean, they were hollering for him. I don't care. I will tag on to whomever. That's right.
Exactly. So that's how it all started. And you did mention earlier, off air, that you were performing and singing in church for quite a while.
Well, my mom, dad, and my 2 sisters and I, we used to travel on weekends and sing in different churches. Mm-hmm. So it was a lot of fun, really great memories.
It would have been cool to have a mom that emulated Patsy Cline and a dad that emulated Dean Martin and Frank Sinatra. That would be cool.
Well, actually, my grandfather was the Dean guy, but my dad was more of the Buddy Holly guy.
No way.
Yeah. So when he and Mom sang together, she was the big personality.
Yeah. Now I know where you get it.
And Dad could sing. He was really good at harmonies. So it used to be pretty magical to see them.
Did they record anything together?
They didn't. They just sang for free in church.
Really?
So I was like, that is beautiful. I want people to clap for me, though.
Mm-hmm.
They don't clap in church, Brent.
Where was you? Yeah, sometimes they do, don't they?
Okay,
it all depends.
They didn't clap for me in church.
It all
Brent.
depends on what denomination you go to.
That's
I suppose.
true.
Yeah.
That is true.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was a lot of fun. So my sister and I would take way too long to do the dishes every night and practice ABBA. We would just sing ABBA over and over again.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And your first professional gig?
My first gig that I got paid for was... So my first on-stage paying gig would have been with a band called Pet Rock with Dwayne.
I love these names.
I
people come
know.
up with. Pet Rock.
Pet Rock. It was Dwayne Hargrove, Terry Whalen.
Yeah.
Mike Bidley.
Oh, Mike, yeah.
That was my first, and Richard Cole. Anyway, that was my first band that I fronted. Mm-hmm. So that was way, way back in the day. And then I started doing session work for people after that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But that was a lot of fun. They didn't want a female. They actually did not want a female.
Really? And it was obviously a rock band.
It was a rock band. I had just come off my big win at Miss Fredericton for talent.
Yes.
And
What year are we talking?
we're talking 1990, 1990, and then this was January, February of 91. Mm-hmm. And I saw in the newspaper that they were looking for a vocalist for a pop rock band. And so I called them. And I said, I hear you're looking for a singer, and I would like to try out. And they're like, well, we really need someone who has got a big voice. I said, that's me. And they're like, we need someone who's comfortable in front of a crowd. I said, that's me. They said, we need someone who's gonna own the stage. I said, you're gonna want to hear me.
Yeah.
So
you sold yourself.
I sold myself, and they were absolutely lovely to me after that. They did, however, tell me after my audition, they asked me where I got the lyrics because none of them were even close.
Oh, really?
But they let me join their band. So.
You said you once played, you got one of your starts with the Downtown Blues Band.
Yeah.
Legends in Fredericton.
Absolutely.
They played with Dan Aykroyd when Dan Aykroyd was in town back in the day.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. No, Paul is so amazing and gracious.
And the coolest guy in town.
He is, and because he sort of gave me the nod back in 1990 and invited me into this world. So it sort of took me from karaoke, which, by the way, if you want to learn to be a really good performer, start at karaoke. If you want to learn how to be funny, start at karaoke.
Yeah.
But it's a great place to start as a singer if you haven't found a band. If it wasn't for Paul Campbell inviting me on stage, I feel like maybe I just would have, hung out in the karaoke scene only, which, by the way, is still a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, but you don't get the crowd.
Yeah.
And the cheering and the clapping and the singing along and all that sort of stuff.
One thing you do get, though, is you get that crowd connection when you love what you're doing, whether you're on stage with a band, which is the best thing ever.
It is, yeah.
Or
especially with a band that knows what they're doing, right?
Oh, and the Downtown Blues Band. I mean, and Paul Campbell, I always felt, and Dee London. I don't know if you remember Dee London. So Dee London was sort of, she stood next to Paul for a long, long time. And for a long time, I would sing backing vocals for the both of them. And then every now and then they would let me sing a song.
Yeah.
But I always felt like, when I was 23, 24, fairly cocky as you are when you're young, I really felt like I knew how to sing. I knew what it was about, but man, I didn't know anything about performance until I met Paul Campbell and Dee London, because those people taught me the difference between singing a song and feeling a song, and he is just one of the very best that I've learned from, and there's so many more great people that are coming up through now.
He's amazing. Do
is.
you remember the first song that you did with him?
Hand in the hand. Put your hand in the hand of the man.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
Wow.
Yep.
30 some odd years ago, and you remember the first song.
Absolutely. It changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you have with big bands? You've been part of the Downtown Blues Band.
Yeah.
Back on Track was an eight-track mind. Eight-track Mind was another big band that you were involved in. Like, I'm talking numbers of people in the band. Like, I'm talking 8 or 9 people. And that must be hard to rehearse, for one thing, and practice with trying to get everyone's schedule together.
It is very difficult. We are going into our 20th year in January, and when I tried out for that band, that's hilarious. I split my pants at the audition.
Really?
But
That's a different show. That's a new show. A different show.
That's a different show. But anyway, we're still going. We mostly just do
8-track Mind still going?
8-track Mind is still doing the do.
Really?
Yeah, we've got 2 or 3 shows this summer. It's usually like weddings or corporate events.
Yeah.
But it's so much fun.
And so you're in that band.
Yep.
And you're in the band. They played at the Tattoo Expo.
Yeah.
And it's,
thank you.
Yes, and it was a great show. The crowd loved you. Different crowd, right?
Yeah.
Different crowd. Fast Eddie and the Fembots.
Yeah, thanks for remembering.
And it's a 4-piece band, so a little smaller.
Yep.
So you're a member of that band as well. Any other bands that I don't know about that you're a member of?
Sheridan. Sheridan, that's a duo. And that is where we're sort of doing a little bit more of the original stuff.
Okay. We're going to get to the original in just a bit.
Yeah.
But Fast Eddie and the Fembots.
Yeah.
Is that pop or is it, it's a different style of music that... Yeah.
We, actually, Dan's wife, Lori, so there's Dan Doucette, Marie-Hélène Michaud, Fast Eddie Oldfield, and myself. And then Dan's wife, Lori, who is a legendary singer in Fredericton, we were trying to figure out what to call ourselves, and it really is kind of lounge pop. We do throw in, I do sneak in some country stuff because I just love it, and I think that there are certain songs that cross genres, and it doesn't matter what you call it; it's just great.
Especially nowadays.
Oh my!
Well, even if you go back to the 70s and 80s, there was Olivia Newton-John, and there was all kinds of artists in the country genre that were crossing over into pop. Kenny Rogers and Dolly and all that sort of stuff.
And let's not forget Shania Twain, who would release okay, so we're releasing the same track, this one with more violin fiddle, and this one with more guitar / synthesizer.
Exactly,
so,
for the dance bar.
For the dance bar, and I think that's beautiful. I think a good song is a good song, and it doesn't matter what you call it.
No, exactly. So the Fembots.
Yes.
You guys are busy. You guys are getting gigs left and right and center.
Well, we're having a good run
You're filling
right
up
now.
your weekends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so much fun.
Yeah.
Those people are such close friends of mine, and Marie-Hélène Michaud is just, her voice is just crazy. She's just so good. And there's only one person that I love singing with as much as her, and that is my sister, Stacy Shinard Rich. She is fantastic. But Marie-Hélène Michaud is just, what a voice, and the harmonies just seem to work so well, and she's so fast, and she's good, and she's just lovely.
Now, I've known you for, like I said, quite a while.
Yeah.
We never dated. Let's say that again. We've never dated.
That's two guys in Fredericton I haven't dated.
But I didn't know that you were a songwriter. I've known you for a lot of years, and I've known you as a performer and an energetic performer, and a fantastic performer and a great singer. But I didn't know that you were a songwriter.
That is something I have come to. I really have always put my heart and soul into a vocal performance. And it didn't occur to me that I had anything of value to sort of share. About 10 years ago, I started writing songs, and it was after a particularly sad to me breakup. And I mean, I was writing and writing and writing, and I gotta tell you, I was drinking at the same time I was writing.
So after this 13-minute song that you've written?
Well, okay, so there were several songs. One of them was Disaronno Drunk. Another one was Disaronno Drunk.
Okay.
Another one was Black Hole. They were Disney tunes, obviously.
Right, okay.
But anyway, I started sharing them with my friends, and my friends were saying, like, this is exactly how I feel. But I was drinking so much that I lost the songs back then. But anyway.
You didn't write them down.
I did write them down, but then I moved 4 times and I lost all the stuff. And then I emailed a bunch of stuff to Eddie, and Eddie, I don't know where it is, but anyway. But that's fine. It's probably best that those songs never saw the light of day because I wasn't in a great place.
Right. It's funny that we had Ella Campbell on the show last week.
Yeah.
And Ella wrote her very first song and performed it for the very first time on the show.
That's so
and that dealt with a breakup and an ex as well. So a lot of songs come out of these breakups and exes and yeah.
Well, life is kind of about a lot of things, but love kind of really does make the world go round. I mean, are we not all in search of love in some way, whether it's you get a dog or you get a cat, or you know, you meet somebody at the grocery store and think you're going to settle down.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it is not new territory, but that's because it's kind of what life is about. And this song that I'm gonna be that you're gonna hear is also kind of a similar theme.
Okay.
But one thing I'd like to say is not all breakups are, you don't always hate people when you break up with them.
It's like a relief. Oh, you know.
Well, sometimes in a way, or sometimes maybe a lot of times a breakup is a chance to have a conversation, you know. And anyway, when you hear the song, I guess you'll get a chance to decide what's really going on in that song, because it could mean something different to everyone.
And we're going to hear the song in just a few minutes' time.
Sure.
And your co-writer is sitting on the other side of the cameras, and he's going to be playing the guitar.
Yes.
Your co-writer is Gary Hansen.
Yes.
And talk a little bit about Gary. The first time I've met Gary was today, and he's an amazing guitar player.
He is, that is no word of a lie, and this is not even an eighth or a 20th of what he's a jazz guitarist. If there is a musical that's being done, he's one of the people that they call and say, could we please, you know, could you please come and play for this?
Really?
And yeah, he's actually going to be playing July the 1st for the Canucks Rock Show down in St. Andrews with Tony LaPage and all of those folks. He plays at the Southside Shake most Friday nights and Saturday nights with Chad Ball, and they are, I love jazz, and they have fantastic shows. And Gary and I have become very close over the last couple of years. He actually was in the Fembots for a short period of time, but there were bubbles, and
What's that mean?
well,
Bubbles.
During COVID, you could only have so many people, and the Fembots were not yet getting shows, and his other bands, the jazz ones, were. So he had to make a choice, and he backed out, and which I was kind of mad at him for a while.
How you bring up a topic that we haven't touched on yet is. How tough was that being a performer and going through COVID? I seen groups on Facebook that would have the guitar player in one square and the drummer in the other square and the lead singer over here and the bass player over here, and they were all in tune and they were just doing fantastic. And I'm thinking, how did they do that?
We actually did that.
Did you?
8-track did 25 or 6-4, and we all taped individually. We sent it to Dan Doucette, and he being the marvelous, intelligent geek
the geek
that he
computer
is,
whiz,
made it all look and sound great. Yeah.
So the song we're going to do in just a moment or two is called All the Way to Georgia, written by Sherri Chenard and Gary Hansen. Tell us about the songwriting and how the song came about, and whose idea was it?
Okay, so it's layered. We won't get too far into it, but I will say this.
Because it's only a half-hour show.
That's right. That's what I'm saying.
All right.
I get it. Gary had seen on my Facebook one day something that I had written that had come up from years back, and it was actually not long after a breakup that I'd had, but he had seen it, and he was like, oh, you know, and it said, things I have learned, and this was something I had written, pickling spice and pickling brine are not interchangeable.
Okay.
You can't squeeze 10 pounds of sugar into a 5-pound sack.
Okay.
And you can't love enough for two. And anyway, he had said, hey, I saw this in your thing, or in your feed. And then we started talking about just a song, and then we just started working on it. And at first, we were sending voice clips to each other through Messenger.
How long ago was this?
This was in January.
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
just recently, yeah.
Yeah. So it was about 3 weeks of going back and forth in January, and we created this song. And when I heard it, when we actually got it done, and Gary did the recording and the mixing on it, he's really talented.
Sounds good, yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, I loved it. I love it.
All right, after the break, we're going to come back here in just a moment or two. Sherri Chenard and Gary Hansen going to be performing All the Way to Georgia, and it's available.
It's going to be available on Spotify and other platforms.
All right, there you go. Welcome back, everyone. It's Brent Buchanan from Pure Country, and this is There's Always a Song, and we have a song for you. The song is recorded and performed by Sherri Chenard, and on the guitar, accompanying Sherri, is co-writer of the song, Gary Hansen, and the song is called All the Way to Georgia.
How did we get here? Where did our love go? Used to be, couldn't wait to see me. Now I'm staring at the telephone. Where did we go wrong? No one knows. Well, it might have been you, but it could have been me, I suppose. And I'd gladly take you all the way to Georgia. And if I got $20, so do you. And I would not hesitate to share whatever's on my plate, but I can't make enough love for two. Might have changed my looks, you could have changed your mind. Well, I guess I could have waited, but I know it would have faded in time. Who'd have ever thought you and I move on? It used to be good, I know we did what we could, but it's gone. And I'd gladly take you all the way to Georgia. And if I got $20, so do you. And I would not hesitate to share whatever's on my plate, but I can't make enough love for two. Can't deny I'm bitter and I'm broken. Believe that I have just lost my best friend. Hanging all the words I haven't spoken. I'm afraid of what I might say in the end. So I'll take my cat and you take your dog. We'll divide up the stuff, I'll put it all in the truck and move on. Why do some things grow? Why do some things die? At the end of the day, is there nothing to say but goodbye? And I'd gladly take you all the way to Georgia. And if I got $20, so do you. And I would not hesitate to share whatever's on my plate, but I can't make enough love for two. And I'd gladly take you all the way to Georgia. And if I got $20, so do you. And I would not hesitate to share whatever's on my plate, but I can't make enough love for two. No, I can't make enough love for two.
All right, Sherri Chenard, Gary Hansen, and all the way to Georgia. I'm Brent Buchanan from Pure Country, and there's always a song on this show. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you know someone that writes their own material and has original material, we would love to have them on the show. Find me on Facebook and get a hold of me, and we'll see you next week. There's always a song. I'm Brent.